The fleet is still rearming and repairing in the East Coast, but in the meantime our light forces have fought a valiant battle around the Caribbean, trying to defend our own convoys and to sink enemy convoys. The next strategic plan is going to be to begin clearing up British ports north of Cuba. We'll be taking on the Bermudas, as well as the Bahamas, New Providence and the Turks and Caicos Islands, to remove British ports from these areas here, and then we will sweep further south and clear out the rest of the Caribbean. In the meantime, at the other end of the world, a French force of 2 light cruisers has been discovered by a patrol of the USS New Orleans, escorted by Winslow and Clemson. And obviously, given that we are at war with the French, we will engage these commerce raiders. New Orleans has picked up the French cruisers on the radio direction finder. We'll send the destroyers up ahead, Winslow in the lead, followed by Clemson, and we'll see if we can spot them. And we have spotted the target. Let's see what kind of... oh yeah, these are the extremely heavily armed French cruisers. It's going to be a revenge for the USS Omaha. So New Orleans, start targeting, and armor piercing, please. Yeah, armor piercing loaded. We've spotted them at... I'm not sure if they've spotted us yet. It's 15 kilometers, so that we're still outside effective range. But the French cruisers are turning towards north, so let's get the destroyers onto an intercept course and see if we can get some torpedoes away. Meanwhile, New Orleans is going to drop down to 26 knots, all ahead full, and get ready to unload. Ideally, I'd like the destroyers to be the targets for the French torpedoes, because these cruisers are extremely heavily armed. French cruisers have noticed that we're onto them and have laid smoke. So we've lost targets. New Orleans will hang back a little bit. There we go. We've spotted one, and they are pretty large. So we should be able to hit them without too much trouble. But we'll get the destroyers closer in and ready for a torpedo launch. And also to draw the fire from the target the lead ship, and they will have torpedoes away as well. So ideally, we'll draw those out from the French cruisers ourselves. Okay, Winslow followed by Clemson. There comes the salvo. Smoke up and get ready to fire torpedoes. Full turn. Hard to port, fire the torpedoes. Meanwhile, New Orleans can take a bit of a turn, and they have launched torpedoes. Yep, there come the French torpedoes. That is not a terrible torpedo drop. We'll see if we can actually get out of this. Winslow for sure. Clemson, I am not so certain. We'll see. But Clemson might have to detach and go on to the turn for herself. Actually, no, turn into the torpedoes, because there are even more coming. So Clemson, turn into the torpedoes. Make sure that you get... but at least we have drawn the French torpedoes, which is good. So Clemson should be safe from that drop. There's another torpedo coming. Double checking that New Orleans is safe. She is. And Clemson can get the torpedoes on the other side away as well, so we'll get her to turn about, and Winslow turn over. That is a lot of torpedoes. That's a British level of torpedoes here. Okay, Clemson hard to starboard. Get the torpedoes away on the other side. Meanwhile, New Orleans is closing in, but still does not have a good solution on the French. But now, fortunately, okay, they are retreating. New Orleans, all ahead flank. And see if you can get some shells on target. Yes, they have been pushed away by the friendly torpedoes. And I think Clemson should be reasonably safe from French torpedoes now. More torpedoes incoming. Who are these aimed at? These are aimed at Clemson, so I keep turning to evade. New Orleans is safe, and Winslow can slowly turn around. And we are starting to land 8-inch hits on the French cruisers. Okay, Clemson, turn, 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 turn. More torpedoes incoming. This is from the other cruiser. So Clemson is going to have her work cut out for herself here to dodge those. But at least none of these appear to be aimed at our heavy cruiser, which is my main concern. Clemson, straighten out and thread the needle with those. Oh, it's a cross drop. Okay, we've avoided that one, and we've avoided these ones. Well done, Clemson. That was a veritable torpedo soup. Just to make sure that that Winslow is not running into that. So let's get her to turn around. And we have New Orleans closing in into getting into close range now, and she should be able fire armor piercing with the 8-inch, please. More torpedoes incoming, again I think aimed at the Clemson, which shouldn't have a huge problem avoiding these. Not sure she can actually get away in time. Okay, let's see, she will have to thread the needle here once again. Steer in between these outermost two torpedoes here and get in there in between. Okay, that should work out. Unfortunately now Clemson is uncomfortably close to the French cruisers and doesn't have a good way to disengage. Okay, actually disengage to starboard. And Winslow is coming in, needs to dodge those as well. But in return, okay, New Orleans, please target the Lavoisier, and get the guns on target here to cover the turn for the Clemson, who has to make a bit of a dangerous turn here, and comes under fire from both. More torpedoes coming in, again aimed at the Clemson, so Clemson has to keep dancing here. But hopefully New Orleans can close in on the French cruiser and get some armor-piercing shells on target here. Yeah, there we go. And these torpedoes, yep, she's dodged those as well. Is starting to take some hits, but has managed to dodge all the torpedoes so far. New Orleans has almost the broadside to shoot at. Let's switch to automatic again, because she is pretty well angled now. So let's chase her down. Meanwhile, Clemson has avoided the torpedoes and is in good shape. And Winslow is coming back in again for another run as well. Let's go back to normal torpedo handling. And hopefully New Orleans can finish her off, unless she's got torpedoes reloaded somewhere. Yeah, these French cruisers, 7.3-inch main guns, not an awful lot of armor, so they're all about the weapons and very little about the armor. So hopefully New Orleans can finish them off pretty quickly, while the destroyers are doing all the hard work. We are going to get... okay, we're gonna get the destroyers to link up again. So Clemson follow Winslow. Winslow take the lead, and oops, the cruisers are turning around. More torpedoes incoming. That is not a bad thing. New Orleans is giving still chase. And the Lavoisier is Lavoisier probably. The Lavoisier is about to go down here, so New Orleans can already turn in to start targeting the other cruiser. Destroyers do have to keep dodging torpedoes, so we'll make a full turn here, but start targeting the Kersin. Ooh, where did these torpedoes come from? Clemson? Clemson is okay. And there are torpedoes coming in towards the New Orleans, so she needs to turn in now. The Lavoisier is sinking. New Orleans turn into the torpedoes and start targeting the Kersin. And the destroyers have managed to evade, haven't gotten their own torpedoes reloaded just yet. More torpedoes incoming. Go for a tight formation, please. And New Orleans has just about evaded the torpedoes and now has the full broadside of the French cruiser to shoot at. So get those guns swung around. More torpedoes incoming. Winslow, turn. Turn. Hard to port. Avoid the torpedoes. New Orleans. Make a drive-by and end that French menace if you can. Okay, Winslow is safe. New Orleans at point-blank range. Please load the armor piercing. Thank you. Oh, more torpedoes. Full reverse, engines full reverse, and turn. I did not know she still had torpedoes. Turn in, full reverse. Not going to be enough, but it was a dud torpedo. Unfortunately, from that, the New Orleans has taken some engine damage. But hopefully nothing too bad. And more torpedoes incoming. Okay, these things are crazy. We'll turn in here. New Orleans should have this. Yeah, I think she has this. More torpedoes incoming. New Orleans has evaded. Destroyers are still not reloaded. But close chase here. Does that thing still have torpedoes? Probably does. Now New Orleans point blank range has the broadside to shoot at. Make something happen. And yeah, I am going to pin the main guns on the armor piercing, please. You have the full broadside of a French French light cruiser to shoot at. Please use the armor piercing on the 8-inchers. Okay, 8-inch armor piercing. Salvo out. That's better. Ammunition detonation and host of damage now. And I think she is going to be having engine troubles and all other kinds of issues. The destroyers are almost ready on... Okay, do not run into the... slow down to 27 knots. Do not run into the sinking light cruiser. If the New Orleans doesn't finish her, then the destroyers will. New Orleans slow down to 25 knots. And get into the turn so you can keep the guns on target. Destroyers, if you have a torpedo solution, smoke up and get your torpedoes away. Okay, New Orleans is circling her. And she sinks due to heavy flooding. New Orleans' guns have finished her off. So, that was revenge for the USS Omaha. Who's done the most damage? Probably New Orleans. Yeah, by a far margin. The destroyers haven't, but the destroyers have done a stellar job of drawing the massive torpedo armament from the French and giving New Orleans the space she needed to get the shells on target and yeah, finish them off.